Tuesday, it's 8 p.m. You know what time it is. It's Red Room Day and time. People, welcome back for another episode of Red Room. I should try to keep count of episodes because Anfield Index usually used to have a tradition of episode numbers and remembering them. But since I've joined, I've caused absolute carnage. Carnage by name, carnage by nature. Nothing's organized. Nothing's arranged, nothing's pre-planned. It's off the cuff. It's natural ability, and we're going to talk about players and individuals with natural ability. So much to talk about. So much to talk about. First and foremost, if you don't recognize the faces by now, I'll just remind you: there's Lewis, there's Welsh Mo, there's Goldmouth making his appearance, a debut appearance on Anfield Index. Of course, you will know him from my channel. Of course, my friend, my brother, my partner in all things Liverpool when it comes to football. But welcome to the Red Room.
You know what? If you search my name in the deepest dredges of time on Anfield Index's website, you will find that I may have written a couple of articles. So it's almost like we've just come full circle, right back around again. Finally, Goldmouth comes around. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me and having me on this. I've got so much to say, so much to talk about with Liverpool. I haven't even spoken to you since we won the league. No, being there and everything, it's just been like transformative. And not only you know me as being the one that's the most positive fan, etc., etc. Like my positivity is times a million right now because it's crazy.
Okay, fair enough. Crazy. Hopefully, someone in the rest of the panel will have to put some doubts in your mind because I don't like overconfidence. You know me, I always play devil's advocate. I always try to bring, from my years of experience gone by, I always try to sort of balance things up. When someone goes a bit too much, I say calmer. When someone goes a bit too negative, I say shut the fuck up. I like to just balance the scales a little bit. Zan has already been on the show. Welcome back, Zan. Hope you're doing very well. We were talking about your beard game beforehand. Some others were jealous, but everyone has a decent beard game today. It's funny, actually. Everyone's got a decent beard, but no one's got a beard like you, my brother. How you doing?
Good. It's actually my first time on Anfield Index. I think the last time I was on your channel.
I beg your pardon. 2 debutants on Anfield Index. A round of applause, boy, for the 2 debutants. I like that. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. But you're good though, yeah?
Yeah, all good. Happy. We're loving the transfer window so far.
Listen, this is it.
Well, so yeah.
Well, this is it. Transfer window, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it all. Everything's a bit quiet. Mo, what's going on? Where's all the signings? Where's the games? There's uproar. We've had a whole week of no transfers in or out. Like, this is unheard of at Anfield these days, man. This is not like FSG, the new FSG, or the old FSG. The old FSG coming back into the new FSG, if you know what I mean. Like, is there panic? What's going on? Too quiet.
I think we're concentrating on the outs first, innit? And then we'll see a lot of ins coming in. But yeah, I'm bored. I want the season to start, man. Come on. Let's go. Another month is too long, But yeah, I just generally think behind the scenes they're working on some outs, and then we'll see some more ins, depending if they can get certain people out the door, which I'm sure we'll touch on a bit later.
I guess that's a perfect segue into some outs. And Lewis, I want to start off with the recent, I don't know how much you guys have watched the under-21 championships with England winning it. First and foremost, congratulations to England for winning that. I'm only interested in the Liverpool players, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know about you. Did you catch much of it? I did, and I thought the 3 Liverpool lads were outstanding.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a... The thing is with Harvey Elliott, there's so many fans of rival clubs and England fans and other countries who are saying, wow, look how good Harvey Elliott is. We've known how good Harvey Elliott is. We know how good of a player he is and what he's capable of doing. And that tournament showcased the very best of Harvey Elliott when he's on the front foot, when he's attacking, when he's able to create and he's able to express himself and be creative in an attacking sense. We saw... Once again, Liverpool are dominating Europe, just not for Liverpool. They've gone out, they've asserted themselves, retained the title, which is ridiculous to do. That's a huge accomplishment.
That's some feat, That is actually some feat.
It's a massive feat, and he's gone out and he's asserted himself out there, and it's the perfect time for us. None of our key and that sounds disrespectful, but none of our major key players have had to go out and play international tournaments. They've been rested. This is someone who's on the fringes, who's just gone out, put in a top quality tournament performance, and upped this price tag by maybe double. So it's a win-win scenario. He gets the plaudits, we get the price tag. Yeah, terrific to see from him. And I mean, Tyler Morton and Quansah as well, goes without saying. They were superb as well. And best of luck to Quansah, which I know we'll get onto shortly. Tyler Morton might have done him some favours as well. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Keith, as we just spoken off air, I haven't spoken much to you since the title won. I don't think you've recovered. I don't think you'll ever recover. I'm going to be honest with you. I know how you work it. So, you know what I mean? Pause. But you know what I mean? I know how you celebrate. I know how you celebrate. But the three outstanding performers, standouts, make up. Is it just over core of the team? No, just over core of the team, right? 3 players, isn't it? Into 11.
Yeah, one in defense, one in midfield, one in
any mathematicians out there? Have I got that fraction right? Yeah, been very impressive. I mean, let's start with the one that's spoken about the least, right? Tyler Morton. Where do you stand with him? Look, I've always had a soft spot for Tyler Morton because I affectionately called him Tyler Busquets after his performance in the San Siro in the same game as Philip.
Oh, yes,
and people said, "Oh, how are you comparing him?" People jump on your neck when you make a comparison. I said, "Come on, I'm just having a laugh." Sergio Busquets is one of the greatest players of all time. What I meant was Tyler Morton has got some talent. It makes sense, right? He's done wonderful. It makes sense to capitalize on him as much as we can.
Honestly, Grizz, I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but these 3 players are not under 21 England international. Like that tournament, I believe that it is way above their quality. And I think what you said, Lou, was perfectly spot on. It was almost like, imagine some fringe players had an opportunity to play a couple of games to prove themselves, to be bought by a club. That under 21 tournament for them was exactly that. But the performances, I think, should have been expected. Harvey Elliott, at the end of the day, has played multiple Champions League football, he's played Premier League football. Like, he's played so much football at the highest level. Like, that under 21 tournament was just a nice way for him to show, like, yeah, I'm about. But I wouldn't buy too. He's still got a lot to prove to be at that level amongst the senior group. That's why I think we're letting him go. But as a shopping price tag, that was nice for Liverpool. It's rubbing their hands. And Tyler Morton, exactly the same. Tyler Morton's been around the first team for quite a long time. You just said it yourself. He played in the San Siro, right? Like, Tyler Morton played in the San Siro. Like, he played in these big games. A lot of these under 21s, in my opinion, these days are like 16, 17, 18s. That's the real youth. Like, once you get to 19, 20, 21 with some of these players at the moment, they're already playing multiple games, big games, etc. So, all 3 of them. Jarell Quansah, exactly the same. I've got lots more to say on Jarell later, but I'll put all 3 of them in that bucket, Grizz. Well done, did the job, put themselves in the shop window, but way above their level.
Way above their level. Zan, I'm going to come to you. Way above their level, he says, and I kind of agree with him. Again, we talk about someone who's gone, but obviously a little bit relevant to speak about him still, Jarell Quansah. People always say, like, if you saw him play, right, and he wasn't associated with Liverpool, and we didn't see him week in, week out, we didn't know nothing about him, we'd say, yo, that centre-back from Leipzig, for example, let's just say he was from Leipzig or Ajax Academy, we'd say, look at that elegance on him. He's got height, he's got strength, he's got technical ability, yet we see him week in, week out. Are you still coming to acceptance that the fee was fine and the move was accepted, or are you having second thoughts about the Quansah situation and the move?
Honestly speaking, I watched like quite a few of the under 21 games for content reasons, and you saw the good and the bad of Jarell Quansah. So the good being the way he brings the ball out, the progressive play. He was absolutely brilliant. And then there was moments where England under 21 conceded, and you see the person who made the mistake. And unfortunate, sometimes it's by luck and sometimes it just happens. It was Quansah there, giving away a penalty, leaving a late leg out, not being in the right position. And I think that is the main reason why Arne Slot just couldn't trust him in that first team. And honestly speaking, having a buyback clause is a masterclass from Richard Hughes, because he does have talent. I think aerially he is brilliant. He's excellent at reading crosses. He's also very, very good at progressing the ball. I watched him for the England under-21s, and there was
Yeah.
moments he was literally running across the whole pitch on his own. No one can tackle him. He's just way better than them, and he's playing a through ball straight into a shot. So he's got the talent. Let him have a couple of seasons at Bayer Leverkusen. I think they said 2027 is when the buyback clause comes back. And if he is someone who reaches that height, then Liverpool have the option of buying him back, which is perfect. So I think in terms of the deal, Liverpool done the perfect job.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Are you all in agreement with that? Watching him. Look, I'm a fan. I absolutely understand. He's been making mistakes. He's been at the scene of the crime, too many times. I get it, yeah. But I still think he's young. It's no age for a centre back to be judged, in my opinion. I think in 3-4 years' time, I think. I mean, of course, it depends on his mentality and his attitude. And I want to come to you, Welshmo. I get it. It will depend on his attitude. I think Quansah ends up. I think where Quansah ends up will be based upon his attitude and mentality, not his talent and physical attributes. I don't know what you think.
Yes and no, and I think people are quick to write off Quansah because of this, the bad season he's had this year. I was one of them. I've got to be honest. I thought, I don't mind getting rid of him, But I had a little think about it, and this may be quite controversial because everybody thinks playing next to Van Dijk would be a good learning tool for him. I actually think it's the opposite. I think Van Dijk does a lot of work that goes unnoticed. Van Dijk cleans up, mops up, which makes the partnership work rate or workload a lot easier. I think someone, bear with me a sec on this point. I think someone with Quansah's age and where he is now developing needs to be in the thick of it, needs to be tested regularly and pick up a lot of that slack to learn quickly, rather than expect someone like VVD to mop up after him and so forth. So I kind of have that kind of mindset with it. I think moving to Leverkusen is a great move for him. He's going to be in the thick of it. He's going to start regularly. He's going to learn. He's not going to have someone as great as Van Dijk next to him. So he's going to have to step. So he's going to have to step a little bit. Exactly. And we need to see him have regular games and see if he can step up. And I think putting a buyback clause is just genius. And I hope if Elliot does go, then I hope we do the same with Elliot, because 2027, by then he would have had 2 seasons under his belt with Leverkusen. By then we can judge a little bit proper of what his capabilities are. Yes, people would say German league is weaker than English league, but it still gives you a good yardstick of where he is and where he's developing. And if it's worth that 60 million to reinvest, get back in, then we've got a player waiting there. So I think, yes and no. If I make sense, did I make sense there? But
no, absolutely.
I agree.
I understand what you said. Yes and no. But Lewis, look, Quansah's gone, and we're all I think we're probably all in the same boat in terms of him, except me. Even me, actually, I've come to accept that. Thankfully, there was a buyback, so there is still hope for him. Morton, I think unanimous. We all agree that lovely little player, and but fair play. Now we come to the one that's probably one of the most difficult decisions, or is it, in terms of Harvey Elliott, player of the tournament, marvelous individual performances, and resulted in him being named player of the tournament. Where are we with Harvey Elliott now? This is what I want to know.
Look, I think Harvey Elliott could have had the greatest tournament in the history of football, and I still think Slot would have said, "No, you're not for me." He's not. Slot's no fool. If someone doesn't fit his system, if someone doesn't play how he wants them to play, I don't think he's one of those managers who's going to say, we'll keep him around, see what happens. I think it's either you get it or you don't. Elliot is incredibly talented. We've seen that going forward. We've seen the moments that he's produced for us, the Cardiff goal being a massive one, that incredible top corner goal against Tottenham, Luton, the Champions League this season. He has those little flashes of individual brilliance that make you think there's someone really here who can fit this team. But on the other side of things, you've got someone who's a bit lackadaisy when it comes to his defending in terms of track and back, someone who's necessarily hasn't found the perfect position for himself, someone who can hold onto the ball a bit too long. There's a lot of pros and cons of Harvey Elliott, and I think that going into this tournament, Liverpool or Slot in particular were looking at this as this isn't us to decide whether we're going to keep him or not. This is to determine how much we're going to get for him when he comes out of this tournament. And there's no arguing that he is a very supreme talent. And I do believe that if Jurgen Klopp was still the manager, Harvey Elliott would be getting regular game time. He'd be getting certainly a lot more than he is under Arne Slot. He's someone who's too good, in my opinion, to be sat on the bench waiting for the occasional chance to play for us. And I understand that he's not perfect. I understand he's not a faultless player. But there's someone there who's wasting their career, essentially, waiting for their moments, who we could sell on for £40 million with a buyback clause, £50 million without a buyback clause. There's so many better options than just keeping him for the sake of, well, he's incredibly talented. He has these moments every now and then. Let's keep hold of him because he supports this club and he gives us all in the press. It's not what we need, and it's not what Arne Slot looks for, I think, in a midfielder. He doesn't want someone who's going to run around like the road runner necessarily. He wants someone who's composed on the ball, someone who can go box to box, someone who's able to defend and track back just as good as they are go forward and attack. Harvey Elliott can't quite do that. And as much as I think he had a superb tournament and he's given us some phenomenal moments, it just feels like the right time to move on. And if we are having to sell to buy, he's one of the most valuable commodities in that aspect that we have in this team.
Keith, your views on what Lewis said, and I get it. I want to get you and Zan to talk about it. Like, why can't we? I want you to try to give me an insight into why can't we fit him in tactically? What's lacking? There's lots of good things in him, right? You're a mute, so it would help if you come off mute.
I would
7 years still an amateur. But look, but Harvey Elliott's no amateur, man. Like I understand what Lewis said. I absolutely understand. Like Slot wants, it seems, physical athletes, right? But Harvey Elliott, man, surely there's a place in him in a Slot system, or seemingly not.
No, honestly, it's just a wrong age. I always think to myself, if Harvey Elliott was a kind of a seasoned vet and he was around like the 27, 28, 29 mark, right? Had a few seasons at other clubs, etc. Liverpool brought him in as a squad player. Harvey Elliott, in my opinion, would get the similar type of love that Xherdan Shaqiri got. He reminds me so much of this. Harvey Elliott does come up with moments. It cannot be denied. He's got like his output for Liverpool and his age in general is very, very high. Like the numbers don't lie in the amount of minutes that he's played. So I always feel like it's just that because he's young and he deserves the opportunity to be like let loose and the team build around Harvey Elliott. And then we can see whether that, he ultimately takes that mantle or does become Xherdan Shaqiri and just go and maybe play for teams like Atletico Madrid and this, that, and the other, where he could be a squad rotation player because he's proved in his quality, Champions League, Premier League, like he has proven that he's got something that just changes the game with that left foot, right? He can do it, but physically, to everybody's point, it doesn't suit the Liverpool side, particularly the right-hand side. The right-hand side, effectively, I've come to terms over the summer that the right-hand side is just something that we just know will forever be attacked. Like people talk about Frimpong coming in, it's going to be always the same. Teams attack the right.
Even without Trent,
Trent, they will always attack the right because they know that Mohamed Salah is a striker and there's more space to play down the right. So someone like Harvey Elliott, unfortunately, they don't see him as Mohamed Salah, never have done, and try to turn him into a player that I don't think personally works in a Liverpool team. Could work elsewhere, but that's why I don't think it's worked out ultimately. Moments player, guy you want to bring off the bench, big game, gets that, makes something happen. He could be that, but I don't think he and the money you're talking about for Liverpool to get in, it's a no-brainer, unfortunately. But I still think he leads with his head held high from Liverpool, to be honest with you. And actually, I do believe that he is a player to watch because I think he's got all the attributes to, regardless of maybe necessarily holding down the place for a team, I reckon he will pop up at a few big clubs, in my opinion, and I think he'll be around for quite a bit.
I'm going to go to Zan in a minute, but normally I don't really give the time and space and air to any dickheads in the chat, but I'd like to bring up one before we block him. We're going to make him famous for about 10 seconds. Hey, could I get 5 Pakistani takes? Said no one ever, he says. Yeah, with the name sector Liverpool. Well, Lewis is Scouse, Mo Welsh and Bengali heritage. Keith's half keeps Middle Eastern,
Half Italian, half
European,
Jamaican, my
half
friends.
Italian,
That's
half
the Caribbean.
Jamaican. He's got and
All over
Zan,
the
I
world.
believe. Zan and me are the only ones of Pakistani heritage here. So, listen, you want to be a ignorant numpty who has no concept of color, race, creed, carry on, my friend. There you go, guys. Before we block him, now he can F off and we can carry on with the show. Ban user and delete their comments. There we go. Zan, Harvey Elliott, little technician. There was a time and a place in the Premier League, we don't even have to go back, man, that far. The likes of Juan Mata, Silva, Ozil, left. I'm naming all left-footed maverick type players, good on the ball, maybe not physically dominant. Slot's not about that life. What's going on? Is that what the reason is? I mean, I like Elliot again. I think he's a fantastic squad player. And I know Lewis said about he's too good to be someone not playing enough games. I'm selfish, man. Maybe I'm talking from a selfish point of view. I don't care about Harvey Elliott as an individual, per se. I care about Harvey Elliott, the Liverpool player, and I want him to be at Liverpool because he's a fantastic squad option. But that doesn't always work out, right?
So I like Harvey Elliott, and I think he's a brilliant player. Just how everyone has said, he is fantastic with the ball at his feet, creative ability, good ball striking ability, which has been improving as well season on season. And in general, he's a very good chance creator, especially when you're coming up against a low block. But Arne Slot has two ways of using him that Harvey Elliott suits. That's either as a right winger, which we saw him play for England under 21, or as a RCM/10. And as the right winger, you're expected to be good 1v1, a good change of pace, be able to cut inside while your winger's going out, and be very, very careful with the ball at your feet. I think Elliot lacks the pace aspect to be the right winger under Arne Slot. And as the 10, as we saw Szoboszlai, and for as much as he got criticism sometimes when he was on the ball, off the ball, the amount of work he had to do, because when we're pressing, there's always one man that's slightly open for the opposition team. And when that ball goes past and we have the two-man attack pressing, which was Szoboszlai and let's just say Darwin Nunez as the number 9, that Szoboszlai has to run all the way back and make sure he's back in position. And Harvey Elliott lacks that athleticism. And Arne Slot needs that athleticism in the midfield. In terms of him leaving, I think 40 million is way too good of a price for Liverpool not to let him go, especially if Arne Slot's not using him. You let him go, you bring in, let's say, a winger that Arne Slot likes, and now that's someone who can probably take minutes away from Salah as much as he won't accept it. And now you have a bit more squad rotation that Arne Slot trusts, because the main issue we had going later into the season was our key players were playing every single game every 3 days. And now if Salah gets a little bit more rest, by the end of the season, he's still got that energy to still be at the top level he was throughout the season.
Yeah, try convincing Salah. That's going to be the key, though. This is going to be the Salah. This is going to be the Slot proper quality control test. See how he deals with Salah, and I guess Virgil to an extent as well. In terms of they will need rotating, nurturing, and resting. We're going to have to come to a decision on Harvey Elliott, guys. I'm going to one by one ask you, if you was Slot and the team, what you would do and what kind of price you'd go for, and in the end, Mo, what are you saying first, bro? What are you doing? What have you decided?
I'm not going to be sentimental about it. Just if we can get a good offer, 40 million with a buyback clause, take it. And reinvest in the squad.
Can I ask one question, guys? No, actually, I'm going to let you all go and then come back. I'm so sorry. Mo, you said 40 million with a buyback clause, and you're happy with that?
Yeah.
Lou?
Yeah, I've 40 million in a buyback. I'm sort of swayed by the way we've handled the Jarell Quansah situation. I think that's the ideal scenario. If you're wanting to just sell him without the buyback, 50. I'd rather 55 plus. Yeah. I don't know, 10 million more just feels a bit... It's not enough to sacrifice the buyback option, in my opinion. So I think it's got to be more than 50 if you're just selling him outright.
Keith?
You're muted.
Stay on mute. No, I want him to stay on mute for the rest of the time.
If a club can't pay more than £40 million for him, I don't think we should sell him.
40, yeah.
Yeah, 40. 40 buyback clause, I can see here or there, but has to be 40. Anything under, if they're talking 30, 35s, don't sell him. I don't think they'll sell him. And I don't think they should sell him. Anything.
Zan?
I would say 40 million with or without a buyback clause. I think if it hits 40 million, Liverpool will let him go regardless of the buyback clause.
So this is where I wanted to sort of butt in, but I was biting my tongue. It's very difficult for me to do that sometimes when it comes to football in Liverpool. I've got this bad habit of interrupting. I need to cut down. People always tell me off for that, yeah, but I don't give a shit. If you lot have spoken about, I'm sorry, I'm going to put some of you lot on the spot here. If you lot have discussed Harvey Elliott's physical attributes and the lack of them in certain situations in terms of being detrimental to his being a starter, can you explain to me how his physical attributes will improve? Why have you put in a buyback clause? What's the thinking behind that? So if he's not fast enough, tall enough, strong enough, powerful enough, how is he going to become tall now that he's 23 or whatever? He's not going to be quicker. Go on, Lewis.
I don't think it's necessary.
Why are you insisting? Or are you thinking maybe in 5 years' time we have a new coach who might believe in his attributes more than Slot? Is that what you're thinking? Because you're contradicting yourselves here, lads, with the buyback.
Because I don't think it's necessarily a height thing. I think it's just I'd rather have the option and not need him than him turn into this incredible player and us having to break the bank if he is something that would fit our new system, for example, of a new manager come in. I don't think it's not out of the realms of possibility. We've seen it numerous times in the past of players who have left one club not good enough, have gone somewhere else, improved massively. Like just Leon Goretzka, for example, he left and went to Bayern Munich, not leaving us, obviously. The man's a machine. Like he transformed into a machine. You see all these memes of people going off to Real Madrid where they go over there, they develop so much muscle and they just physically look more imposing and are in matches. I'd just rather have the option of bringing him back if he does develop into that player that we're looking for, rather than us saying he's never going to be good enough and then 2-3 years down the line we're like, crap, it's going to cost us double if we do want to bring him back in. I don't know. It's just a sort of a contingency more so than it is he's going to fit the system.
So does anybody else want to back up their opinion that I've kind of ridiculed?
No, to be honest with you, like just one quick, for me, as I said before, it doesn't really matter. Like, I
know you're fair enough. You wasn't insistent on a buyback. You don't
and hearing the conversation and hearing this you as well, I think the conversation really should be sell-on clause rather than buybacks.
This is where I was going. This is where you can tell where I was going. Keith got there first. Then surely it's a sell-on clause. If you're not like thinking he's going to become a bad boy or have a fear of him becoming a bad boy but not on our patch, then surely sell-on clause, because we can see the talent. We all agree he's talented and he might become a fantastic player, but we just don't think he's going to fit into Slot's plans, and Slot won't, even if he improves by 20%, which is quite a lot, guys. 20% is a huge increase. He still won't start for Slot. Do we agree? In that case, if someone else likes him and have a sell-on clause, surely better than a buyback clause?
Yeah. I think most contracts. Sorry, Zan. I think most contracts nowadays, or most sales nowadays, have a sell-on clause anyway. I think people do that anyway, but that makes sense. Yes. With regards to me saying a buyback option, is Harvey Elliott's. He played 18 games in the Premier League last year for Liverpool. I don't think any of them were starts.
No. Didn't he start one near the end or something?
Oh, near the end, maybe one or two. So let's just say 18 and two of them were starts. Yeah, appearances in the Premier League. I need to see a Harvey Elliott play 38 games in a row in the Premier League and see if he can step up to the potential.
Why do you want to see that?
Because I think there's a player there. I genuinely think there's a player there. But
why are you selling him?
Because he's a victim to our system. Simple as. If we didn't play the system we played,
great players can fit into systems. If he's going to be this wonder child and you actually believe in him and you want to see him for 38 games, like, wow, you really believe in him. You really got some faith in him. Keep him then. Let him nurture and develop then.
I would actually keep him if I had a choice. However,
I asked you your choice and you said you sell him.
No, you said how much would you? No, you said how much you sell him for. that was a different question.
Why are you selling him then? Say no. I believe in this player. I'm gonna
No,
keep.
but like from a slot squad perspective, okay. If it's slot making the decisions, sell him. That's what I say. If it's me making the decisions, I'm not.
I asked you for your decisions, people. I always ask Lewis,
Okay,
Keith, Dan. Make sure I want your opinions, not
for my decision. Like I'm either way. I don't mind if we sell him because I understand that, but I don't mind if we keep him as well. But for his benefit, being the age that he is, and potentially knocking on the senior England squad, he needs games before a World Cup year. He will get that in a slot team. So that's my point. A buyback clause is for me is because look, if he goes and starts for a West Ham 2 seasons in a row and becomes a worldie like a Shaqiri, a younger version, then yeah, let's get him back in the squad. You know, if slot might not be there, we don't know. It's just to protect ourselves. I think every sale we do anyway, we get a sell-on clause, or every club in the world puts a sell-on clause on. You know.
No, you have to insert it. You have to insert it. It's not.
But it's more common now, isn't it? You know, that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if it's a slot system, I think he's just victim to the system. I genuinely do.
Zan, I think we've got Mo absolutely confused, and he's given 3 different answers in one. We still haven't got a definitive. Have you changed your mind? Have I confused you in any way, shape, form, or are you adamant?
No, I think he's a player that should probably get sold now. Like, he's had a couple of seasons, 3 seasons. I think it's probably the right time that we can see he doesn't fit our slot system. Let him go. And to be honest, I'm not convinced that we need to have a buyback clause on him either. I think he can become a very good player. I don't think he can become elite. I don't think he can become Florian Wirtz elite. So buyback clause would be for someone who you think could become genuine starter for the team. 40 million and maybe a 20% sell-on clause if he sold on later to another Premier League team and we got something out of it, then yeah. But I don't think he could ever become elite.
It's important we started on those 3 because they've most recently had some success, and obviously they're the talk of the town in terms of outgoings. We're going to carry on the theme with the outgoings because it seems to we all agreed that there's going to be outgoings before any more incomings. I don't necessarily agree with that, but we'll get onto that later on in a little while. We'll have some breaking news. Everyone likes a bit of breaking news. Mo, if that's Mo from South Africa, message me. Is that Mo from South Africa, my friend? But anyway, he says, breaking tier 1 Bayern source, Altabelli says, things are getting serious between Bayern and Luis Diaz with a concrete approach made to the winger. Diaz is open to a move away from Liverpool. Luis, I don't think Diaz wants to go Saudi. I don't think Diaz should be going Saudi at this stage of his career. I think he's got a lot to give. I personally, I'm like Mo in this situation where I'm very indecisive here. I don't know what to do with I don't know whether to keep him. I change my mind every morning I wake up. But that's not important right now. What's important right now is he wants to go to Barcelona. Barcelona are not going for him. Barcelona probably going for Nico Williams. They haven't got the funds for Luis Diaz as well if they go for Nico Williams. The only other club, and I was thinking this, was probably Bayern, right? Yeah. And Bayern looks like have come to the table. And Bayern probably can spend 50 to 60 million, which is probably what we're looking for Diaz. Same question, type of question for Elliot and everything else. What's your stance on the Luis Diaz situation?
You know what? I'm in the same boat where one day I think we've got this absolutely show-stealing left winger who at one point was unplayable, I think, before that initial first injury he had in the first half season when we got him. But that was 3-4 years ago. For me, Luis Diaz comes in little purple patches. You look at the start of this season, he got 6 goals, I think it was 5 goals in 6 matches. And then towards the end of the season, he scored for 4 consecutive games. Before those 4 consecutive games, he'd registered 3 assists in a row. Can we be relying as a club right now on someone who is only going to come good in small incremental patches throughout the season? I think we need someone in that position who's going to guarantee top level quality, and Diaz can do that. But when he's bad, it just feels like there's a passenger in that team. And I don't think we should be actively going out of our way to sell either Gakpo or Diaz. I think you've got two incredible options there at left wing. You know, you're creating problems for yourself, I think, by selling them, because we're going to have to go out and sign someone new. But I can't. I always think if he goes, I'm not going to be absolutely heartbroken about it, because in the moments where he's great, he's absolutely top tier. He causes nightmares. We also already did to Kyle Walker not long ago. He put him on his arse. He's so good on the ball. He's so good at running into space. But therein lies the problem as well. He runs into danger so much. He runs himself off the pitch at points. He runs himself into a corner. His finishing at points, while it's top tier, is also a shambles at moments. We all remember Aston Villa not long ago. I can't be relying on someone who's going to come good for 5-6 games in a row and then have 10 games off. It doesn't work for me. And I think if he was to go, I'd be expecting 60 million. Like maybe a little bit more. I can't see us flogging him for much higher than that. But if he wants to go, you know, what can you do about it?
Keith, Lucho.
I've just never been convinced that he's wanted to go. Like, I kind of feel really.
He wants money. He just wants more money.
He wants more money, and I suppose he's angling, but I don't feel like he's angled. He's had conversations, probably flirted around, etc. But a part of him knows that on a Saturday, when he goes out on that pitch, it's the best place for him. The crowd are singing his name. He's a cult hero. If it was a case where he didn't like the country, didn't like this, didn't like that, then I could understand why he would like really push for a move. But unless he is serious, or unless Bayern Munich are actually as serious as that comment suggests, I love it when they did make a transfer announcement on Twitter with a serious. Really catches your attention. But for me, if either side don't really push, he stays another season, and I think he stays, and I think he deserves to stay. I agree and disagree. I agree with you. He has patches, absolutely, but the patches he had this season pretty much pushed us towards the Premier League title. So
100%, yeah.
And so I think for that reason alone, I don't feel like why do we need to sell this player to if we're looking to get quite big money for Darwin Nunez and ship a few more out. I don't see a point in us pushing him out the door at all. But I can understand why everyone's flirting, because he's coming up to what? Is it the last year of his contract?
2 years
last
left.
year of his contract.
Yeah.
So everyone's flirting with each other, and you know, hey, what's up? And you know, I can understand that point, but I think we should keep him. I don't think we should really sell him at all.
Zan, you was adamant on all the other foregoing. I think you're one of these kids that loves transfers, it seems, by our 3 or 4 conversations. You want everyone sold. You want a whole new team. Do you want Lucho sold as well?
Honestly speaking, this is the only one that I'm 50-50.
Oh, 50-50. I got you. See, I got you. I psychologically played that game where he's not going to give you. See, I'm experienced at this. I'm telling you now.
No, I've always said, like,
Okay.
if he stays, he's on like 50, 60K a week or something like that. Reported.
Which is shocking.
That's ludicrous, anyway. That, yeah.
It's like the only reason why Liverpool don't mind him seeing out his contract. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He can play left wing. He can cover as a striker. And he's definitely someone who's been effective throughout the season. Even if it was in patches, he's definitely someone who provided like a positive outlet to the team. So if he stays, it's fine. But in terms of the sale part, if an offer of about 60 to 70 million comes in, and it seems like Bayern Munich are serious about signing him, then Liverpool also wouldn't mind selling him. I think we missed the trick a little bit though, because the one player I would have replaced him with if I had the opportunity, no, I would have said it's Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia.
Oh yeah,
he went to PSG in January. Because there's no clear upgrade at the moment in the market in terms of a left winger. But if Arne Slot sees Cody Gakpo as his main left winger, and some people have suggested that Florian Wirtz could also play there, then maybe it would be more of a backup left winger, like Mo just said, Malik Fofana. So yeah, I don't mind. He can stay, he can leave. Just depends.
Oh.
Did you? Me? Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I've given you enough time to be decisive. If you still,
I'm going to be decisive with this one, and this might shock people. I want him to stay, and I think, like, from a Liverpool perspective, it is a win-win scenario. Okay, he's on very low wages. He's got 2 years left in his contract. If he stays, he'll still perform. He's loved by the fans. Great. From a footballing perspective, and just doing the right thing, like, you know, from a human perspective, I mean, if he were to believe that he's on 65, 70 grand a week, that's shocking. He's contributed some key moments, and he's helped us win a title this year. And he looks across to the dressing room, and we see, and I don't want to throw Darwin under the bus because I'm a Darwin fan as well. But you see someone like Darwin Nunez earning double the amount. Well, yeah, he's earning double the amount that he's earning, and putting not even a third of the output that Diaz has done. Like, so, look, it's all about the piss. It's all about the money. It's all about the Benjamins. I think, you know, I don't blame him seeking to move out elsewhere. He's at an age when he's 28 now. The next 2 or 3 contracts are going to be crucial for him because he's going to retire and he has to secure a bag for his family and after retirement. So, but from a Liverpool perspective, I'd like him to stay. I can understand why we're not offering him a contract, even though I don't agree with it. But I also want to ask people, like, why are we so quick to get rid of him? Who are we going to get in that's going to give us that input?
Yeah.
Between Gakpo and Diaz last year, they both scored exactly the same amount of goals, or 15 goals and X amount of assists, and they both had purple patches throughout the season. What's lucky for us is when Gakpo was shite, Diaz stepped up. When Diaz was shite, Gakpo stepped up, and we had that dynamic. Like, who are we actually going to get in to replace Diaz now? Be honest. Are we going to go get Gordon? I don't see that happening. Do we really want Gordon, or who else is there? So, from that aspect, there's no standout candidate, and that's why I keep Diaz.
This is what None Your Business says as well. Diaz should not be sold unless we have 100%. Unless we 100% have a replacement ready to join. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't think we'd ever get rid of anyone unless we've got someone lined up, and that kind of segues into our next segment before we get onto it. But yeah, Luis Diaz. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 one, right? From everyone, we're not sure where we stand with Lucho. Output sometimes can be questioned, but if you look in the market, I think Zan said Kvara was the outstanding candidate, but obviously PSG had already done a lot of work on him beforehand. I don't know if it's a minority or if it's a majority. I don't know how the opinions are, how people would vote, but I'm a massive Gordon fan. I think Gordon would be unbelievable at Liverpool, but I get it if people don't believe in him or don't think that's the player that we're looking for. We should. And apart from that, Nico Williams won't come to Liverpool. If Barcelona in for him, he'll prefer Barcelona. And then after that, it's a risk. Now, obviously, every transfer is a risk. All transfers are risks. But trying to replace Lucho Diaz would be quite. It'd be like not on the same level, but like when we tried to replace Sadio.
Also trying to replace 2 iconic songs in Chiesa's and Lucho's.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is going to be. What are we going to think about? Doing when Lucho gets going, it's bouncing in Anfield. I love it when Lucho's on.
You're spot on. I get that one, but the Chiesa loving needs to stop. I cuss other clubs fans.
You can still sing the song.
You can still sing the song, but
it was good for the title parade. The title parade, it was good so that way.
I don't mind the song, and I like the song.
It doesn't.
You know what really irks me, and maybe it's just me getting old and bitter and angry about things, but like the loving for Chiesa. Why isn't he starting? Shut up, man. We just won the league with Slot's tactics and the way he's managed the team and players. Who cares about your own personal love for a player who's not even going to be here? He's literally here as a passerby. He's just traveling through town. You know what I mean? No problem. Let him stay. Give him food. Give him drink. And then let him be gone. Why are you saying, oh, brother, stay, brother, stay, brother, stay? Like, he didn't come to stay. He came to just pass by. And you're just renting him a room.
Came to get fit. That's it.
That's pretty much it.
I don't get the love it. Look, I'm a Chiesa. I thought Chiesa should have been Salah's replacement. That's how highly I rated him 3-4 years ago. I said Chiesa is the best attacker in top 3 attackers in world football 3-4 years ago. He was sensational. He's just not that player, guys.
Yeah, but we always sign players like that, though. Like, we always have those type of players that we get like on the sly little cheap, and we'll see if we can flip it for a little bit. But
I was just about to say that.
Chiesa has been the worst. Since this plan has been put into place a few years ago, Chiesa has been by far the worst output-wise. When you look at
Melo.
Arthur Melo, yeah, okay.
Mark Mallow, yeah.
Arthur, yeah.
That's our Markovic.
No, because we invested in them to actually play for Liverpool. I mean, more of those players was like Minamino, your Melos, your Chiesas, like who else was it?
Thiago.
I
Just a
disagree
nice
with
little like
Minamino. Minamino was a legend for me.
Cole
Yeah,
legend,
yeah,
yes, but definitely like a traveller,
Oh,
a
hero.
passer through, popped
Yeah.
over, said hi, and then went. But
A journeyman.
Chiesas, the journeyman.
yeah.
Well, talking about journeyman and cult heroes and all these kind of things. I guess perfect segue into probably the last outgoing I want to talk about, which is contentious, or is it? It's not even contentious in my opinion. Um, Nunez, Darwin Nunez. Again, a lot of figures being branded out by Liverpool fans. Oh, 70 million. We can get 70. What planet are you lot living on, man?
Just no
Where are
more.
you lot looking at 70 million for Nunez, man? And if any of
Morale,
you guys, and if any of you
morale.
guys, and I'm sorry, if any of you guys have said it on your social medias or your platforms, then I'm cussing you lot as well. So I don't hold back. If any of you guys have got this fantasy about 70 million for Darwin Nunez, actually, I think Mo has. I
No,
think
no,
Mo,
no chance.
I
No
think Mo
chance.
wants 70 million. I think
Okay,
he wants 70 million for Mo. You actually believe in him still. I know you do. You actually.
No, I
No.
don't. I don't know. I don't believe in him. I just don't understand the amount of hate he gets. Like today, I was reading stuff like he's the worst ever Liverpool signing. Have we forgotten about El Hadji Diouf and people like that? Like, you know what I mean? Look, Nunez is not a Liverpool player standard. Okay, let's get it out there. Okay.
Okay.
However, I disagree with all the hate he gets. At the end of the day, he did participate in some clutch moments to help us win some leagues. He's still a Liverpool player, so let's not throw him under the bus so quickly. But he's not Liverpool standard. Okay, we rolled the dice on him 3 years ago, hoping he became the standard. It was a project that hasn't worked out. Let's admit it. We're not going to get 70 million for him unless Saudi comes knocking. But it doesn't even look like Saudi will come knocking. But he wants to stay in Europe. That's the main thing. In
That's the
Europe,
problem.
Europe clubs won't go over 50 for him, or what?
No.
40 to 50. No Europe club will go near 60, 70 million for him. Not in a million years. So unless we can find a club in Saudi, or unless we can use him as a make weight for something else, or we'll give you Nunez a plus X amount, and you give us Julian Alvarez, hint, hint. Unless we could do a deal like that, then we might be stuck with him for another season.
Oh, Lewis, we could be stuck with him for another season. Is there any chance of us being stuck with him in a season? How would you take that? Or are you saying no? The first offer we get out.
I think I'm having like Vietnam style flashbacks. Just no. Look, I'm in complete agreement. I could name you 10, 15 strikers we've had who've been worse in the Premier League era for Liverpool. He does get an unfair amount of criticism at moments. And if you look at the grand scheme of the amount of goals and assists he's got and the moments he's given us, like there are players who couldn't. Him getting those 2 winners at St James's Park, players would dream of that moment, and he came up big with it. The Bacchio against Madrid, the Community Shield, Brentford, Forest, Bournemouth, etc. But if you can't be in your 3rd season as Liverpool Football Club's most expensive player before Florian Wirtz arrived, as our number 9, as our attacker, and still have question marks over whether you're good enough. You're either good enough or you're not, and he's proven that he's not. And I understand that he does contribute to the press. There is someone there who can score wonderful goals at moments, but he moves around like a pig on a skateboard. He runs for the sake of it at moments, and I just think he's not good enough to be at Liverpool personally. He can go to La Liga, and I think he'll fly. I think he'd do a job in the Bundesliga. The Italian league, I think he could do very well in. He's just not to the standard that we require. We need someone who's going to come in and lead this front line alongside Salah and Gakpo. They should not be scoring in spite of Nunez. They should be scoring from contributions from another player who's capable of fitting in that front line, and he just isn't the one. Maybe Wirtz could unlock something. I don't know. But we said the same about Slot. We said the same about Mo Salah. We said the same about Gakpo and Diaz. We've said every possible story of who's going to be the player to unlock Nunez. Ultimately, the only person who can get the best out of Darwin Nunez is Darwin Nunez, and he doesn't seem to be capable of doing it on a consistent level for us.
Before we go any further, I've just had a look at the amount of likes that we've got on this stream, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as some of your defenses of Darwin Nunez. Can we get the likes up right now, please? That would help the algorithm very much so. So people, there's over 200 of you watching on YouTube, and it's close to 3,000 on other platforms. So please smash that like button. and that would be greatly appreciated. Keith, I think I know me and you've spoken about Darwin Nunez forever and ever and ever, but sell at all costs, or again, are you like what you said about Elliot? If we don't get the money, hey, listen, he has come up with, like Mo said, he's come up with clutch moments that many others can't think of. I can't think of a Diouf clutch moment. I can't think of a clutch moment for Markovic. I can't think of a clutch moment for
Sean Dundee.
Sean Dundee. Or very quickly before we move on, can we think of a clutch moment for Naby Keita?
Atletico Madrid, Champions League.
Yeah, Newcastle away. I remember once as well. Yeah,
Atletico Madrid. He got the winner against them in the Champions League.
Oh, we digress. Keith.
This one's gonna be.
Yeah, Nunez. I don't know what his nickname is. I know he's got one.
Captain Chaos. You know, we started it all. You know what's so funny, right? I was at Anfield for Nunez's. I believe it was his debut. Was it against Crystal Palace? Or just one of his first few games for Liverpool?
Fulham was the first one.
Yes, and then it was Palace at home, right? And I went up there. I was like, you know, I had a client meeting up there, and I was like, let me slip this in for a journey. Went up there, and it's the first time, you know, I've not been to a million games in my life, right? So it's the first time I've actually ever seen someone get sent off, and because it was in the middle of it was in the evening, it was so fluorescent, and from that moment, I can't get that image out of my head for what he done to get that. Sums up his entire career at Liverpool. This guy just lives on a different planet, and you know, but it's crazy to think that he possesses just so much. Like, it's almost as if, you know, when his mind goes blank, that's when he's at his best. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot tell me, if you asked him to recollect any of those bangers he's scored, do you remember the moment you lobbed the keeper against Brentford, or do you remember when you kite inside at Bournemouth and just bend it around? You know what I mean? Or do you remember how you got past the Aston Villa goalkeeper, for example? Probably went blank. But if you told him about the Luton miss, if you told him about the many other misses that he's had in his Aston Villa miss, he'd probably say, yeah, he was probably thinking about it the entire way. That is the kind of player he is. And I still think there's great value in him, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's got like special talent and special gifts to be able to score goals in magical ways. But that can't be denied. We've seen it with our own eyes. It's just a consistency issue with us. Will it ever happen with Liverpool? Who knows? But if I can see that Alvaro Morata, can go for 50 million quid, right? I think Darwin Nunez can more than happily go for 60 million quid, 65, even 70 million with add-ons. Absolutely. Darwin
Look at Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz, okay, £85 million they paid for Kai Havertz, was it? You can't suggest that Kai Havertz, structurally for Arsenal, has not been, like, once Kai Havertz got injured...
Yeah, but that's not good, guys, that's not a good gauge, because what would be a good gauge is what Havertz goes for now. Yeah? Not what he came from with
How old is Kai Havertz? How old is Kai Havertz? About 23, isn't he? He's 23, 24.
But what I meant is in terms of his stock's gone down. Nunez's stock's gone down. Havertz, when he was bought by Arsenal at that stage, his stocks were up. Now it would be a good indicator to see Havertz. If Havertz fetches 70 million plus now, then you'd say, yo, that's ludicrous. Havertz now would fetch about 50 million. This is my point about Nunez. We bought him for 60, 70 million. His stocks have gone down, guys. It hasn't risen or even sustained its level. So that's why Saudi would have to pay over the top for him, because you know, Saudi need to attract players like that. But European clubs will argue.
But hold on, all these.
If me and you're talking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. If me and you're talking, Keith, negotiation table, you're going to say, Darwin Nunez, this, that. I'm going to say, my brother. I'm going to say, this season, my brother, give me a compilation of worthiness.
But maybe. How I would argue is some of these clubs, these European clubs who might be interested in, just play the Club World Cup and earn pretty much 40, 50 million quid from that, from participating. Atletico Madrid, I'm looking at you. I believe Atletico Madrid would pay that kind of money for Darwin Nunez. 50, 60 million with that £10 million add-on. I believe a club like that. And because these teams have come back with a bit more money in their pocket, I'm intrigued to see if that price does get met.
Zan, do you agree, disagree? What's your take on him? I think that's ludicrous to think he's going to get anything above 50 million.
Funnily enough, I actually agree with Keith. I think we should be able to get 50, 60, 70 million for him. The reason I say that is there's still
50, 60, 70. Like, there's guys, what are we doing here? 60, you're 70. Still in studying. You're a student still, my brother. Yeah? There's a massive difference between 50 million and 70 million, guys. Why are we naming every price under the sun and say, see, I told you, 50, 60, 70. You're like
Around that
IndyCar,
range. Around that range.
you're doing IndyCar,
our price
every
tag.
angle.
Our price tag was about 70 million euros, so that's about 62 million. I'm saying about 60 million at least. We should be able to get.
So now you're throwing in the euros and the pounds. Like, make it clear, my brother.
Nah, that's how it works these days. That's how it works. It's euros and dollars and pounds. It's observers, you know.
You're lucky I haven't put repeats in yet.
Do you know what I mean?
But there's still value in that player. I think he is someone who's fallen victim of Arne Slot's structure the most as well. Under Jurgen Klopp in the first 2 years, yes, he was getting misses, but if you look at the underlying numbers, he was still getting into chances. He was still getting 4 or 5 big chances a game. And yes, I know he's missed a lot of them, but his numbers were actually decent. Coming into Arne Slot's system, the number 9's changed. It's more about how technically good you are, how good your link-up play, your first touch. And that was the things that were definitely frustrating about Darwin Nunez. Like, there's moments where he might have a phenomenal first touch, and the second time he does another first touch, it's absolutely abysmal. There was no consistency with him. But I know Antonio Conte is licking his lips thinking about Darwin Nunez being his number 9. The guy won a league title with Romelu Lukaku 3 times.
Yeah.
He is licking his lips thinking about Darwin Nunez as a striker. Diego Simeone, he is definitely thinking about Darwin Nunez as his number 9. And don't be surprised, and this might sound crazy, but Mikel Arteta would take Darwin Nunez as his striker.
Wow.
Because there's still definitely a market for Darwin Nunez. And just because of that market alone, we should be able to get at least very good money for him. So I actually agree with Keith.
50, 60, 70. None of you have given me one price.
60 million. There's your one price. 60 million.
60 million you want for Darwin Nunez.
60 million and £1.
Keith, you know what it is? All those years, I sold this little brother chicken and chips for £2.50. I should have put my prices up as well. I should have charged you $4.99 for one piece and see how you feel. Like, this is what you're doing right now. You're trying to flood this market. Like, you're saying Darwin Nunez, I want 60 million for Darwin.
Yeah,
the Darwin deal. Finger looking good.
Finger looking good, man. You lot.
Chicken will probably finish better.
I think you lot are clutching, man. I think you lot are clutching.
Conte's licking his lips right now. He's like, yo, listen.
Listen, I want to pay $4.99.
Give me some wings with that, boss. That's what he's saying. Give me some wings with that, boss.
So if we're haggling on this side, right, of things, guys, and this segues into the final segment. Does that make sense? But we got to move towards incomings, because everyone's saying, wow, we're selling half the team. We just mentioned 6-7 players that we're getting rid of. Surely so there's more incomings. I know we had that initial burst of incomings. I guess haggling when you're buying a player or selling a player is totally different, right? Now we're haggling to bring in a player, and that player is Mark Guehi of Crystal Palace. Lewis, I think the dilemma is obviously he's in his last contract, and we've done a Real Madrid. We've said stick it out, we'll get you for free, or we want to give a bargain basement price of around 30 million. We want to basically do a direct monetary swap in terms of Quansah for Guehi, right? Yeah. And Palace, rightly so, and Parrish is a businessman. He wants 50 million. Where do you see this? How do you see this ending up, and which strategy do you like? Do you agree with the strategy we're employing here? Or are you saying, no, strategy, pay the money and get him in, man? Come on.
Yeah, I think getting him in. Like, one thing that we do need to remember is that Chelsea have a sell-on clause, I believe. So if whatever we're going to be given to Crystal Palace, I think it's 20% of that goes to Chelsea. Yeah. So Palace are going to be upping the price. I don't think this is one that can wait, because we have to get centre-back reinforcement in now. We've just sold Quansah. Gomez is as injury-prone as you like. Konate, who knows what's going on with him at the moment. And Van Dijk's only got 2 years left on his contract. This can't be a situation like 2020-21 where we wait it out. We end up with Nat Phillips and Reece Williams at the back. We've got to be proactive at centre-back, and bringing in Guehi, who a proven leader, FA Cup winner, who's surrounded by top professional players in the England team and doesn't look out of place, who's terrific with the ball playing out from the back, defensively very sound, a bit lackluster in the air, it's got to be said. but he's a top talented player. And I think if Liverpool are looking for people who are ready to go in this market, Mark Guehi should be top of that list for who we can get. We can get him on a shrewd deal. We need reinforcements. We can't play the waiting game. And we've shown this summer that isn't the play. So we're going to go out there, spend... I think if it's 40 million around that mark, I'd be happy with the Mark Guehi signing. I'm not willing to wait and see another team potentially notice what he is, swoop in, make another offer, and him go there and we're left with our pants down. We've got to be proactive in this area. And I think Mark Guehi around 40 million this summer should be the ultimate plan for me personally.
Welshmo, Mark Guehi, are you a fan of his? Do you think he's the ideal replacement right now, currently in the market? Have you got any other names that you may want to throw at us? And what kind of fee do you insist on Liverpool paying?
So I agree with Lewis, but it depends why we're buying Mark Guehi. And this is my concern. Only half an hour ago, there's lots of Twitter reports and accounts saying that Konate's rejected a contract. Okay, now I don't know how true the sources are. If it's a Quansah replacement, great. I'm all for it. I think Guehi is amazing. Everything that Lewis says, ditto, repeat. Okay. If he's a Konate replacement, then I'm a little bit no. I think we need better. So it all depends what happens to the to Konate situation. The way I would break that down for everybody to understand is last season. Honestly, now ask yourself this question: top 5 centre backs in the Premier League. Was Guehi in your top 5? Let's be honest. I don't think he was. You'd have Van Dijk, Saliba. No, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Konate. You probably put Saliba in there, or even Zabiari from Bournemouth was up there as well. But was Guehi actually in the top 5? Let's be honest. So my concern is, who are we buying Guehi for? And from a price perspective, anything between 35 to 40, yes. If you're bordering 45 with 5 million add-ons, 50, then I'm it's a bit pricey. But look, there's no other standout name that comes to my mind. The other person I wanted was Diamande, which Crystal Palace are going to get.
Well, no, we have some more breaking news. Everyone likes breaking news. So Crystal Palace won't make a bid for Ousmane Diamande. They only offered 30 million euros. Look at the irony and look at the tactics both clubs are employing with their centre-backs. They only offered 30 million euros. Sporting demanded 60 million euros. Negotiations stopped immediately.
Another centre-back that I wouldn't mind us looking at is Nathan Zeze from Toulouse, I think it is, French footballer. He's young. He's got the same Ibu profile. But yeah, look, it all depends what happens to Ibu. I'm a big Ibu fan. I don't want him to leave. And I think if he leaves, we're considerably weaker than our chances to win the league and Champions League, in my opinion. If Ibu stays and we get Guehi, then you might as well give us the 21 now.
Oh, bloody hell. All right.
Seriously. But that's how, we need backups, like Lewis says, in defence. And Guehi, everyone's got about, he's, game time. You'll get game time. Ibu and Verge are not going to start 38 games in a row in the Premier League. They're not going to start every single Champions League game. But if you have 3 world-class centre-backs or very high-level centre-backs, that load will be shared. And it'll be good to rotate the VVD, to give him longevity, to even... Does VVD need to play against the low-block teams? No, I don't think so.
That guy will play. I think Virgil will play 38 games for the rest of life. It's so mad because we talk about every season. Honestly, I hear it as a point. Every season we talk about, especially after Virgil's injury.
He's a machine.
Keeping him off in that respect. But I still think he'll play 38 games and it will just be whoever partners him. And Mark Guehi, I back you on that completely, by the way. I don't think that Mark Guehi is like a world-class replacement to partner Virgil van Dijk going into Virgil van Dijk sunset. He's definitely a fantastic player to be in the squads. I still think Konate and Virgil will be the way to go. You keep Konate and you do it that way. But in terms of with no Konate and then you're relying to then sign another centre-back, I don't think Guehi's at that for £50 million. basically said that Nunez is worth £60 million. So I couldn't really argue that Guehi would be worth. Crystal Palace would try and ask that money, but I don't see him as that star.
But the logic behind Guehi, I think, is he's Premiership proven, and that's probably the logic behind it, which I understand. But he's not world. Like, I haven't seen Guehi, apart from a couple of internationals. Put him in a Champions League game, a few Champions League games. How's he going to perform? I want to see that, So I still think there's an element of risk signing him, but I'm not opposed to the signing at all. I'm not at all.
Like, I understand the whole that he wasn't in the top 5, and I get that aspect of it. He's not probably the big name or the big talent, and this is probably very different. When we signed Mo Salah, for example, did anyone think he was going to be this top quality player? When we signed Andrew Robertson, when we signed Firmino, when we signed Konate or Van Dijk even, we knew there was talent. We didn't know they could reach this level. And I think that whoever partners next to Van Dijk, Guehi is a left-sided, right-footed centre-back who can play on the right side of defence as well. He's very versatile. Whoever partners next to Van Dijk, if it is Guehi, if it's Konate, we saw when Van Dijk wasn't playing against Chelsea how poor... Not Chelsea, last game of the season, I can't remember exactly, but Konate was playing on his own and he looked pretty woeful. I think it was Brighton, actually. When Van Dijk's not in that team, whoever's there reduces a level a bit. I think Guehi can improve. I think Guehi can become someone who could become a key component of this team. And he probably is a squad player at the moment, but I would have said the same about Robertson and all those players that I mentioned before who have evolved into important first teamers. And I do think if you're looking for the baseline of someone who could make that jump, Guehi's profile far exceeds a lot of other players that you can find on the market at the moment.
Yeah, it ticks loads of boxes, and I totally agree with you on that. What I'm saying is, if he's an Ibu replacement, then I'm a little bit underwhelmed, maybe the word. But from a squad perspective, bring him. He's 24, ticks loads of boxes, homegrown. He can improve. He can get better. He's Premiership proven, maybe not Champions League proven, but he'll get that with us. But my argument is, I'd rather keep Ibu in the squad. Sign him up. But that's
final word.
I get that.
Final word on Guehi goes to Zan, and it's perfect that you get the final word because I believe you've done a video on your channel on him, and this is your chance to promote, brother. You don't ever say, brother Grizz doesn't look after me and promotes my
class, by the way.
Make sure people go and check out Zan Talks Football to Footy on YouTube. Your thoughts on the Mark Guehi potential signing?
I think we're looking too much at it as who he's replacing. I think it's a profile issue. I think one thing Liverpool lack in that back line, especially with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving, is build-up play. We need passers, we need carriers. And if there's anyone that's very good at that, that's available, it was Dean Huijsen. And that was the main target. But he went to Real Madrid, obviously. And I think Liverpool were definitely interested in signing him. So now that he's gone, we need to look at an alternative. And the fact that we sold Quansah as well, that alternative needs to be homegrown. Now, there's two options I think they had, which was Jared Bramthwaite, which it feels like Everton are going to give him a new deal, or is Mark Guehi, because they're the only two who are probably at the right age, very comfortable with the ball at their feet, and also shown leadership skills. So if you're looking at it from a profile way, then he is definitely someone Liverpool need, because our build-up play would only have one passer at the back who's naturally very good at breaking lines, and that's Van Dijk. Ibrahima Konate is very 50-50 with passing out of the back. He's very good at carrying it forward, but in terms of passing out from the back, Frimpong's a carrier, Kirkes is more of a carrier than a passer, and if Gravenberch is the DM as well, he's also a carrier. So who's actually going to play the ball out from the back? If you have Guehi and Van Dijk both playing at the back, you have two players there who platform perfectly for Arne Slot to get that build-up play he wants, the short passing, to get that ball into the midfielders. So I think it's more of a profiling thing that Liverpool are looking for. Homegrown and someone who can bring the ball out very comfortably.
There you have it, guys. If you want more insight, more detail, and a few graphics and edits, then go and check out Zan Talks Footy. He's doing marvelous work, and I enjoy people doing marvelous work who are good people, and he's a good people. And so is Mo, and so is Lewis, and so is Keith, and so is everyone who's joined us today. This was supposed to be an hour show, but we've given you 10 minutes of absolute amazing insight. Amazing insight. We have decided we're selling half the team, more than half the team. And we have decided that we're going to play hardball to bring in Mark Guehi. We didn't even get onto the striker because it's just the same old. We know Isak's number one. target. We know it's going to be a difficult deal. We know Ekiteke is there if we want him. To be honest with you, we can click on that deal anytime we want. And now there's a Victor Osimhen thrown in the name that's thrown into the ring, but we see how that goes. There's plenty of time for that. I think Mark Guehi will be the next one that we were talking extensively about. But again, probably some outgoings. Mark Guehi in, and then we see if we can end the window with a bang. People, Red Room has finished. I thank you all for joining me. I thank the panel as usual, as per usual. My job is to try to catch them out. They know that. Try to wind them up, catch them out, but they're all cool. They're all cool. Absolutely cool. They're veterans. I'm nothing to them. They're pros. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate all your comments. Appreciate your likes. Appreciate your subscribes. Keep them coming. Keep them flowing. Check out Anfield Index, doing daily content, about 7 shows a day. All the guys are doing amazing, amazing work. There is not an hour Anfield Index isn't giving you some form of content. So you can't say, oh, I was busy. No problem. Switch it on Anfield Index. They'll have you covered. Of course, the rest of the guys, check out their socials. Of course, check out Lewis Beyond the Cop, doing amazing hard work. One of the hardest guys that I know. Hardest guys? He might be a hard man, but I don't know if he's how hard he is. Hardest working guys. Hardest working guys. Yeah, that's what I meant. But do check him out. Beyond the Cop, YouTube, Zan Talks Footy, and Keith and Mo, check them out on their socials. We'll be back next week, same time, same place.